THA of irregularities in road construction projects. THA unable to receive budgetary allocations without a permanent secretary at CAST. Finance Imbert blames the business sector for rushed procurement legislation, and in sports, Tobago's youth footballers conquer Trinidadian teams. Good evening, I am Kristen Salandi and welcome to the Tobago Updates television news for Tuesday 11th of July 2023. Topping the news tonight, the lack of a permanent secretary in the Central Administrative Services for Tobago CAST, which operates under the Office of the Prime Minister, is being blamed for the THA's inability to access their budgetary allocations from the government. Reporter Luke James Trim has more in this special report.
What to do? Workers, suppliers and contractors are complaining that they cannot receive payments from the Tobago House of Assembly. The THA says they are awaiting the necessary budgetary allocations from the central government to make outstanding payments. In the meantime, the permanent secretary scandal at CAS is ongoing, preventing the transfer of funds while conflicting responses are coming from political figures. Councillor Sertica Williams Orr, Assistant Secretary for the Office of the Chief Secretary, claimed that there are applications for credit on the Exchequer account that are being unattended to at CAST. She further stated that a permanent secretary is still to be appointed at OPM CAST and that while approval was given for another officer to be appointed as accounting officer, she alleged that the accounting officer was reverted and there is now a mystery as to whether the appointment ended or not. However, the minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, with responsibility for CAST, Ayana Webster-Roy, contradicted the statements. When contacted via phone, she said that currently there is an accounting officer handling the signage of the applications. When asked for an update regarding the appointment of a permanent secretary, Minister Webster-Roy said that she is not responsible and suggested that the question be posed to the Public Service Commission. In May, the former permanent secretary Richie Toppin was suspended by the PSC on suspicions of misbehavior in public office at the same time he was supposed to be promoted to the chief administrator position in the THA. Since the suspension, no replacement was appointed. The matter became subject of a political battle between Chief Secretary Fali Augustine and Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. Until then, government funding cannot be released to the THA. I am Luke James Trim reporting for Tobago Updates Television News.
Now to a developing story. Political leader of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Ansel Dennis, claimed there were irregularities pointed out in a recent Auditor General report under the current administration of the THA. He noted the concerns were in relation to a road repair project in Buku, where the Secretary of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development, Trevor James, was unlawfully involved.
So apparently now in this Tobago House of Assembly, we have assemblymen who are secretaries, who are also procurement officers, not even procurement officers, procurement managers, and who are also the lone persons on the
Dennis also alleged that the information about the awarding of the contract was divulged to a group of contractors in a meeting.
I want them to come and deny that the contract or the contractor that is being spoken about here by the Auditor General that submitted a quotation to the assemblyman as it relates to the paving of the Buku Road, and the quotation was submitted via email. I want them to deny that it was Serum Brothers who did the contract and that it was the Buku Road and that the assemblyman in question here by the Auditor General was Assemblyman Trevor James.
According to Dennis, it is not the first time such an incident occurred under this present administration of the THA, and called on Secretary James as well as Chief Secretary Fali Augustine to clear the air. Minister of Finance Com Imbert said the business sector and the opposition is to blame for forcing the implementation of the procurement legislation. Speaking at a press conference earlier today, He stated that the legislation does not consider emergency procurement. He made the comments after receiving criticism for approving a 3-month window to facilitate sole select tendering for services needed at the recently held CARICOM meeting without Parliament's approval. Here is Candice Jackson with more in this report.
This procurement legislation theoretically was a good thing. But now that it is rolling out, it is proving to be very, very difficult to get things going smoothly.
Finance Minister Com Imbert blamed the business sector and the opposition for forcing the premature implementation of the procurement legislation, even though it sat in the Parliament for 8 years.
And it's ironic that there was a clamor from the private sector, a clamor from industry, a clamor from the construction industry, from chambers of industry and commerce, a demand that this legislation be enacted as is, where is, don't make a single change to it.
The new procurement legislation does not allow for sole select tendering or emergency tendering without parliamentary approval. Additionally, the process outlined in the Act takes 2 months for contracts to be approved. When tasked with hosting the recent CARICOM meeting, late confirmations and requests from foreign dignitaries forced the government to allow sole select tendering, according to the minister.
That you can't convene Parliament every time you have an issue. You can't just have an emergency session to deal with something like this. This is a very important matter, of course, but it is not a declaration of war. It is not a pandemic. It is not an earthquake that has...
Imbert explained that the situation highlighted the need to make at least 2 amendments to the procurement legislation, which he hopes to do in the coming months.
One is to allow the government to act in unforeseen situations, but subject to later ratification. And 2, to deal with the minimum threshold, because a simple thing as procuring food from a supermarket is now almost impossible.
The finance minister noted there needs to be a system for the procurement of minor goods and services, similar to a petty cash arrangement throughout the government. Meanwhile,
only 861 suppliers have pre-qualified so far. And you would know that prior to April 26, there would be thousands, maybe 100,000 suppliers in Trinidad and Tobago, from micro, small businesses, medium, large.
Imbert cited tax compliance and NIS requirements as the main issues preventing or delaying thousands of businesses from registering with the officer of the procurement legislator. I am Candice Jackson reporting for Tobago Updates Television News.
More news when we return after the break.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more.
Come one, come all. It's time to join in the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023. Homage. All are we and all are who we be. To Tobago. Indulge in the awesomeness that is embodied in the spirit of Tobago at the 36th Tobago Heritage Festival. Celebrate a rich, vibrant, hypnotic showcase of our cultural legacy. Yes, from July 21st to August 1st, 2023. Take the island tour. Sample the sumptuous variety of local indigenous delicacies. Enjoy the recreation of old-time village life. Dance to the drum. Feel the rhythm of steel pan. Experience the way of life, languages, and oral traditions. Be part of the journey to our we heritage, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and inspiring our future. Relive our unique culture. Join in the preservation of the heritage of we island of Tobago.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Television News. Some members of the public believe TADCO will generate profit from its efforts to provide food security for Tobago. TADCO's chairman, Ricardo Alfred, explained that their mission is to support farmers and agri-processors, not to operate a supermarket. Here is more in this report.
It is not the intention of TADCO to compete with farmers and agri-processors in Tobago, according to Chairman Ricardo Alfred. The statement follows concerns in the public that TADCO's efforts might be hurting business for Tobagonians in the agriculture sector.
It's all about development, and as the company is Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, the aim of this really is to assist and develop the sector. We are not going to, in the past you had down in TADCO, they are selling all these foreign chicken, cheese. TADCO is not a supermarket or is not a parlor. Our aim is to develop the sector.
Alfred said that it is for this reason that they want Tobago's farmers to be incorporated into the $51 million mega farm project. The two mega farms will be focused on poultry production, root crops, and other produce.
In the future, if we can offer wholesale and allow the retailers to do their retailing, that is the development there. So we are going to be working with persons. If persons have a project, I'm appealing to persons. If they have a project that they could add further value to the chicken, let's have a conversation.
TADCO, according to Alfred, would fund the resources required to support farmers and agri-processors at every stage of the process. He also encouraged entrepreneurs and businesses with ideas for value-added products in poultry or any other agricultural ventures to partner with TADCO.
We have to help these people in terms of making the numbers, because it's all about the numbers. That's what it comes down to. So persons are graduating, persons are expanding, and this is what we want. This is the growth, this is the development, and this is how you build capacity. Let TADCO worry about the marketing aspect of it, in terms of getting it to the various persons, but let TADCO worry about that.
TADCO is also aiming to produce enough farmed goods and value-added products for export. I am Candace Jackson, reporting for Tobago Updates Television News.
Effective July 3rd, Nutrimix flour mills reduced their flour prices within a range of 10 to 13% on their 2 kilogram flour and 10 to 12% on their 10 kilogram products. Similarly, the national flour mills lowered their prices by 10%. However, while people were expecting this to have a ripple effect on the prices of items such as bread, doubles, and other pastries, no such decrease occurred. Janae Campbell tells us more.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley was not pleased that the decrease in the price of flour did not translate into a decrease in the price of bread, doubles, and other pastries. The owner of Puff and Snuff Bakery in San Fernando said that the price decreases were too minor to overcome the 40 to 65% increase in raw materials bakeries had to endure over the past 3 years. He further added that bakeries were slapped with increased cooking oil and gas, butter, packaging, and maintenance overhead expenses. The reduction in flour prices occurred as a result of the global decline in shipping costs and wheat prices. This is after the National Flour Mills raised its prices twice since December of 2021 due to the Russia-Ukraine dispute. Last June, the NFM increased its retail flour price by 28%, while its wholesale prices saw a drastic 33% proliferation. Peter George, owner of Linda's Bakery, posited that despite the recent decrease in flour prices, his operations remain the same as his enterprise has significant operational expenses. However, Nutrimix claims that security, wages, transportation and insurance overheads are preventing prices from being decreased to an even greater degree. Meanwhile, the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, TTMA, has praised the country's three main flour suppliers for their decision to reduce flour prices nationally. The TTMA said that this move showed that manufacturers continue to be conscious of the impact their products have on the cost of living for consumers. They believe that soon consumers would experience lower prices on grocery shelves as global costs continue to decrease. CEO of the National Flour Mills, NFM, Ian Mitchell, conveyed that the short-term, medium and long-term objectives of the NFM's pricing decisions will always be to give consumers the best quality products from a safe, quality food-certified flour producer at the most competitive price. However, to what extent has the decrease in flour prices impacted our overall cost of living? If you're anticipating the cost of bread and doubles to decrease, you might be selling yourself a dream. Janae Campbell, Tobago Updates Television News.
According to Moody's Investors Services, the economy of Trinidad and Tobago is doing well. It found that the government's policies and initiatives for economic recovery are working post-pandemic. Here is more from Candice Jackson.
Trinidad and Tobago received a positive rating from the international rating agency Moody Investors Services. TNT's BA2 rating remains unchanged, but the country's outlook shifted from stable to positive, according to a statement issued by the Ministry of Finance on Monday. Finance Minister Com Imbert stated he is encouraged by the improved outlook because it recognizes the positive outcome of the country's efforts to mitigate the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and decline in energy revenue. A positive Moody rating for Trinidad and Tobago also means a positive rating for the THA, which encourages foreign investors and lending agencies to do business with Tobago. Meanwhile, at a press conference, Minister Imbert said the economy experienced a surplus of $600 million by the end of May.
That does not mean that we will end up the year with a surplus, because the last 3 months of the year, there's always a big push to expedite the public sector investment program. So we spend a lot more in the last 3 months of the year than we spend in the first 9 months of the year.
Imbert anticipates that the overall economy will be in balance or in a slight surplus by the end of June.
But what I said was that I don't expect the deficit to be as large as it was predicted to be when I did the mid-year review. But it's too early to tell.
The fiscal year comes to an end on September 30th, after which the finance minister will be able to provide an accurate update on the economy.
It was a little better than we thought it would be, and then we are being careful in terms of fiscal matters.
I am Candice Jackson reporting for Tobago Updates Television News.
The Water and Sewage Authority of Trinidad and Tobago advises that residents served by the Claude Noel Highway water reservoir would experience low supply pressures due to an ongoing mechanical issue at the facility. This affects residents of Signal Hill, Patience Hill, and Darrow Spring. In a press release, WASA said that repairs are currently being undertaken to restore high pressures in their pipe-borne water supply. It is expected that the service would be fully revamped on Thursday, 13th of July, 2023. Meanwhile, WASA said it may take an additional 12 hours for the supply to return to normal in the affected areas after works have been completed. Truck-borne water remains available to residents in need through WASA's customer call center at 639-6850 or 639-6853. Sports news when we come back after the break.
Inner Health, number 13B Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorns Place with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorns Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Join us this Wednesday for a special edition of the Cricket Debater Show on Tobago Updates, 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Join us as we discuss West Indies cricket, CPL draft, and much more. James Saunders, he will be on set with Mr. Cricket, Anson Nairn, and Jason Passard. Send us your voice notes and join the discussion on Wednesday. Remember, 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Is this the end for West Indies cricket? Who's going to win the 2023 CPL? Tuning this Wednesday to hear our thoughts. We want to hear from you guys as well. The Cricket Debater Show. It's much more than a debate.
Welcome back. We apologize for the technical difficulties experienced. Turning now to sport. Last weekend, a specially selected under-15 team from the Tobago Youth Player Development Project defeated all comers to win the City Cup Invitational Football Tournament. Here is Marcus Daniel with the details.
A team of talented footballers for the Tobago Youth Player Development Project was a force to be reckoned with at the City Cup Invitational Tournament. It was held under the auspices of the Queen's Park Cricket Club at the CIC grounds St. Mary's and featured over 30 of the country's best youth clubs. The Tobago outfit defeated host Queen's Park Cricket Club 5-4 with kicks from the penalty mark after the game ended goalless in regulation time. Jimmy K. Watkins and Tyreek St. Louis were Golden Boot winners with 3 goals each, while Varel Wilson captured the prize for the best goalkeeper. Tobago was represented by an under-13 and under-15 team. The under-13's journey unfortunately ended at the semi-final stage. The Tobago Player Development High Performance Project is the brainchild of Shaquem McCletchy and Les Boval. The program aims to provide league and tournament play for youth football players, teams, and clubs in Trinidad and Tobago. Some of Tobago's top coaches and players are engaged in training 2 days a week at the Plymouth Recreation Ground. It is hoped that the players will be noticed by scouts while competing in various tournaments, both home and abroad. An under-13 boys team heads to Grenada next weekend for another tournament. Marcus Daniel, Tobago Update Sports.
Moving on to another news item. Advances in the medical field allow people infected by HIV/AIDS to live normal lives. However, the virus continues to pose a threat to society. In order to understand and address those problems, the National AIDS Coordinating Committee in Trinidad and Tobago is developing a plan. Here, reporter Biana Brebner has more in this story.
Annually on December 1st, World AIDS Day is observed. People from all over the world come together to support individuals living with and affected by HIV, as well as to remember those who have died as a result of this disease. In light of this, the National AIDS Coordinating Committee in Trinidad and Tobago would be hosting an HIV Natural Strategic Plan workshop on 14th July virtually. The workshop focuses on two major areas and hopes to target certain groups of people, according to Ayana Sebro, Technical Director, National AIDS Coordinating Committee.
Persons from the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, persons involved in community work, youth development work, representatives from the faith-based organizations, persons interested in human rights work, persons who are involved in data management, data protection, knowledge management, people who may have been affected by HIV or affected by HIV or have concerns about the HIV/AIDS response in Tobago.
Statistics on HIV and AIDS are only reflected on persons accessing health care in Tobago. With less than 5,000 persons tested in Tobago, approximately 500 are on virectal viral treatment drugs. Out of that number, 71% are virally suppressed. As a result, the National AIDS Coordinating Committee in Trinidad and Tobago is trying to achieve 95-95-95.
And we want to know how, for Tobago, 95% of persons that we may think, so 95% of persons who are HIV infected could be diagnosed, 95% of those persons could be on treatment, and 95% of those could be virally suppressed.
To that end, the National AIDS Coordinating Committee in Trinidad and Tobago would like to look into issues such as comprehensive prevention, treatment care, as well as the elimination of mother-to-child transmission, human rights, policy issues, and community engagement. More information on the last Natural Strategic Plan and last National HIV Policy can be found on the NAC.
We are at the end of our newscast. But before we go, here are the headlines once more. PNM accuses THA of irregularities in road construction projects. THA unable to receive budgetary allocations without a permanent secretary at CAST. Finance Imbert blames the business sector for rushed procurement legislation. And in sports, Tobago's youth footballers conquer Trinidadian teams. I am Kristen Sanandi. Have a good night.